All right, folks, welcome back to HMW Sports Talk Live. I'm Craig Shelton from HoustonMediaWatch.com, and I want to encourage you folks to go check out the website at www.HoustonMediaWatch.com, and you can follow all of the guys on Facebook and on Twitter, and we appreciate that support. Angelo Lawford from HMW remains in studio. He'll be here for the rest of the show as we continue to talk sports with you, the Houston viewers. We want to say thank you to Fred Faour from ESPN 97.5, host of The Blitz. Fred and AJ put it on Monday through Friday in drive time over there at ESPN, and we really appreciate those guys. You got to reach out to Jerome Solomon, who also does The Rush over there in middays with Dave Tepper. Got to get Jerome back in studio. I need to talk to you, Jerome Solomon. We got some things to talk about. We spent the first segment, folks, talking about the NFL Combine, which really morphed more into conversation about Johnny Manziel, Blake Bortles, and Teddy Bridgewater. Fred Faour, hey, he is a on-the-record Teddy Bridgewater guy. Not going to get much of an argument from me, Angelo, when anybody that's leaning toward Teddy Bridgewater. I talked about a tweet that I sent out earlier this week. I also sent out a tweet and a Facebook post talking about the fact that I just think that it's kind of ridiculous that we have so many folks talking in media and selling this take of Teddy Bridgewater's, draft stock going down.
Right.
And I just, people need to pause for the cause a little bit. Just pause for the cause. Don't get caught up in believing that NFL teams have the same focus in regard to how they evaluate things as guys doing sports talk media. There are some guys in sports talk media, the Freds of the world, who was just here, John Harris, who you've seen here, Lance Zierlein, who you've seen here, and a few others that really understand the dynamics and are disciplined enough in the way that they deliver content to their audiences, not to just kill you with their personal opinions. It's okay to get their personal opinions, but what you folks need to know is that these teams, their evaluation process is much more detailed than any of us. No matter how much film we try to watch and going on YouTube and watching YouTube footage on these guys, look, we don't have the information. We don't have all the practice film. Andy Kalu talked about it on his show this week on Sports Talk 790, that how all of the practices are taped and recorded. Bill O'Brien and the Texans have a long process of evaluating what's already there with the Texans,
Right.
and going back and looking at last year's practices and watching guys. I thought those were great comments that Indy Kalu brought up this week, because it's factual. When we out there watching practices, you can see those cameras rolling and all that stuff goes on film. So to think that the Texans or any other team is evaluating quarterbacks, based on the same criteria that folks in the media are selling to the listeners riding up and down Highway 59 every day, is just ridiculous, Angelo.
And I'll be honest with you, man. It's kind of humorous in a way, and just it's like double speak. Like, you hear a lot of media say, "Well, there's no Tom Brady, there's no Drew Brees
Oh,
in
my
this draft."
God. How many times have I heard that one? Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because, well, at the time that they were drafted, nobody knew that they were going to be Tom Brady and Drew Brees.
Yep.
Drew Brees is the second-round pick. Tom Brady, as we all know, is the sixth-round pick. So you can't look at this draft and say that Bortles, Bridgewater, Manziel, or whomever is not going to reach some sort of elite status. I mean, you look at the quarterbacks in the league right now: Kaepernick, Wilson, even Aaron Rodgers. I don't think was predicted or projected to be as elite of a quarterback as he was. So I think people just need to ease up and just let people grow into who they're supposed to be, rather than
I
judge
agree.
them, before they ever do anything on the field.
Listen, there's going to be a guy, too, in this draft, you rest assured you, that's going to show up and show out.
Right.
Whether it be a Logan Thomas, a Hokie, whether it be a Aaron Murray, whose draft stock went down because of the injury, the LSU kid. I mean, somebody's going to show up and show out.
Right.
that isn't being touted to do so.
Right.
And the reason why these guys are not getting are not getting that run, there's some good reasons. You know what I'm saying? Logan Thomas has played a lot of bad football around very few good games.
Right.
But because of the measurables, with the size and the athleticism and the arm strength, you can't just give up on a prospect like
No,
that.
no, no.
You don't know when the light is going to go on for these kids.
And then
So
coaching changes everything. When you hit the right coach, you get into the
that's
right system.
always a
You
part
never
of it.
know. So,
Always a part of it. I mean, ask yourself this question. We looked at the development last season with the Texans of a rookie receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't know about you, but I remember DeAndre Hopkins completely taking over a football game and winning it,
right,
and then the Texans never used him
right.
in that fashion again
Very early
during
in
the
the season, he
season.
did that, right?
So do for me, that's a Kubiak issue.
Right,
And I'm not killing Gary Kubiak for everything he did, but that was a glaring Kubiak issue to me, because if it ain't fixed, you don't. If it ain't broken, you don't fix it.
right,
And I believe that a guy like a Sean Payton or a Bill Belichick, those type of coaches, from what we've seen from them, if you can't stop something, they give it to you again and again. And I never understood why the Texans didn't go be more aggressive in getting the ball to DeAndre Hopkins on a
right,
consistent level, which would have just made the team much more dangerous, because if the team has showed some commitment to, we're going to get this rookie to football and he's going to be better than your guy one-on-one. Well, we know we got a guy over here who's better than you guys one-on-one, but because the Texans showed real soon that, nah, that's not what we're going to do.
right,
That's not what we're going to do. We're going to do what we've been doing. We're
right,
going to force the ball to Andre.
right,
So coaching makes coaching philosophy, coaching approach, and the actual act of coaching up players.
right,
If you don't think it matters in football, you just don't understand the game. Coaching matters in football, I would say, if not more than as much as any other sport. I never played
yeah,
soccer, but I played basketball, baseball, and football. Coaching really, really matters. Good group, going back to the combine, good group of offensive line talent. We saw today offensive linemen, we saw tight ends working out. Folks, when you want to talk about size at the offensive line position and tight end, this is a draft where you're going to, draft class that is, where you're going to see a lot of kids with size, coming in with prototypical NFL size, being drafted this year. But Angelo, I'm gonna tell you one thing that grabbed me when I was watching the offensive lineman work out today. I said, "Wow, man! With this depth at tackle, if the Texans don't find a tackle,
right,
and they may already have one, who knows? Maybe Brendan Brooks, Brendan Williams comes back and he's ready to play.
right.
But my God, if the Texans don't get it right at tackle, we got to look at the evaluation process.
Right.
Your thoughts?
Have you seen anything so far in the combine that makes you think that the Texans should do something different with the pick, reevaluate how they address the pick? Do you think it's just nuts to bolts quarterback, or do you think that they can trade the pick, or what kind of information are you getting?
Nothing
That makes you think?
nothing I've seen in the combine. If we were playing a game, and I just had to give you something that, if it changed anything for me, it would mean something. I would say with Bridgewater and Bortles equally, size would matter to me a little bit more. The fact that Bortles measured out to be taller than he was even. Rarely do you see a player be taller
Right,
than he's billed in college. Normally he's smaller.
right,
This guy was logged at 6'4", 230, and then this kid comes to the combine and he's almost 6'5" and 230. And then even though Bridgewater was listed as 6'3", people that I respect, people like Lance Zierlein, I heard Lance Zierlein speak emphatically on his show that Teddy Bridgewater was going to measure out as 6'1", and he's almost 6'3". So if I had to find two things that would have some effect on my evaluation process, I would say the measurables with those two guys. Nothing changed in regard to what I think about Manziel. Had he been 5'10" or 6 feet, to me, Johnny Manziel is what he is.
right,
Well, Craig, you didn't say what he is. I'm not going to say it, but he is what. It didn't change anything.
right,
But to answer your question in another way, I think there's an easy, obvious argument to be made for the Texans trading back. Now, is it balls to the walls quarterback? Yes. but it doesn't have to be a quarterback pick with the first overall pick. I'm not one of those people that believe the Texans have to take the approach that I'm going to fix quarterback this season. I'm not that guy. I don't believe that.
Right.
It's really nothing against Manziel, Bortles, or Teddy Bridgewater. It's more about the Texans situation overall in regard to needs, in regard to if you're a GM, you're thinking 2-3 years ahead, and we know who the Texans have to ink and put money behind. You got to look back a year or so and look at who they just paid. So you got some hefty salaries on this team. You got salary cap issues. You got things coming up. So I'm not a person that believes the Texans have to fix the quarterback position this year, theoretically speaking, but by drafting the guy who we're going to go with, he's going to be our guy. I'm fine with a scenario where the Texans load up on picks, get some good draft picks high up, fill some needs, offensive line, defensive line. You got some needs. I believe you still got some needs, obviously, at running back, in other areas. You need another cornerback on this team, a safety on this team. I can roll with the scenario of building around that, but I do think, regardless of the approach, you do draft a quarterback this year. If the best guy, if you decide to trade back and do something different, you take the best guy available that fits this coaching scheme and what this head coach needs. He says he wants a smart guy, which means, a disciplined player. You get the best of what's left with that. Then you got a draft situation next year, depending on how the team plays. You may be in contention for a high pick then. If not, you got free agency and other avenues. So, yeah, to answer the question, yeah, I can easily make an argument for the Texans doing things a different way. What about you? Real quick, are you a guy that says balls to the walls, you got to take a quarterback this year?
Man, you know what? To be honest, I think I heard an assessment about coaching. Like, the Texans were bad this season, and they needed to address coaching this season, right? So you can't wait for next season to address coaching or wait for a better candidate. If you follow me, what I'm trying to say, like you have to deal with the hand that you're dealt at this moment. And I think, taking that in mind, I think they need a quarterback, and maybe there's a better quarterback coming in a future draft. But I think
you got to address it this year.
You have to address it.
That's fair, folks. 2 segments in, hang in there. We'll be right back.